Hello everyone, welcome to Mindfulness this evening. It's lovely to see you. As usual, I'm streaming live on YouTube and I'm also streaming through Zoom and speaking to colleagues directly that way. Thank you very much for being with me. Just a couple of announcements before I get started. The retreat in December is already fully booked. So we've got people taking waitlist spaces at present, and we have 2 spaces left on the November the 12th one-day retreat. So November the 12th, we still have 2 places. So tonight we are looking at playfulness, and I noticed that my phone is ringing, so excuse me while I just turn off my notifications. And somebody is asking me for the link, so excuse me while I do that. Oh, technology, huh? Let me just see if I can do it quickly and easily. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'm going to leave them and just concentrate on you. Good, done that. So as we start, I will just suggest we do a small sitting practice so that we get ourselves settled and we leave behind things. And after interrupting myself before, I haven't put it on Do Not Disturb, which I have now. Okay, so feet on the floor, bum on the seat, sit upright. So I just notice I'm not sitting upright so much. Hands in the lap so that you have support for your shoulder girdle. Bring your attention inside of yourself and down. So what we mean by that is, rather than allowing your attention to wander to external things, we deliberately bring our attention inside of ourselves. And so there may be a bit of wandering as well when you come inside, but very quickly it allows you to settle and it allows you to focus on one place. I'm going to suggest that you focus on your belly. So just bring your attention fully to your belly. And as you notice your mind wandering, bring your mind back. So this is a very simple instruction, but it's something we do 10 times, 100 times, 1,000,000 times every time we sit and practice. We just bring our mind back to this present moment, back and back and back, again and again and again. As you've sat here for a minute or so, just notice what's changed. Notice there's a gentle unfolding of the moment. There's a gentle unfolding of your attention, your body. Things just begin to fall away. And if they don't, if you're still jingly-jangly or still very distracted or still carrying the day with you, that's okay. Just notice that and don't give up. Just stay with the breath, stay with the belly. Keep your attention right here. Perhaps you want to notice your thought patterns at this point. It might become very obvious to you that you are impatient or you're tired, or maybe you're questioning whether you can do it tonight, or maybe you feel that this isn't what you expected, or it's not the same as every other night you've been. Just treat that with a bit of laughter, Oh, look at me. Oh, look at me. Oh, look at me. Here I go again. Not with any sense of criticism, just a light, gentle touch, a light way of expressing your recognition of thought patterns, your recognition of what you're doing. Each one of these thoughts is just an artifact. It's not real, it's not true. What's real and what's true is your bum's on the seat, your feet are on the floor, you're breathing, you're alive, and you can be present, fully present to this moment. And that's all we're asking you to do. If you can, if you've got the energy to do so, pour all your attention into the next 3 breaths. An in-breath, an out-breath, an in-breath, an out-breath, an in-breath, an out-breath. In your own pace, but just keep everything on that breath. And when you're finished, if you'd like to, just begin to move. Maybe have a stretch or a yawn. Maybe have a glass of water. And just come back to eyes open and to the group. So lovely. We've got a group on Zoom here and we've got a group on YouTube here. Lovely to see everyone. And thank you to those of you who've bought me a coffee this week, a Ko-Fi. I really love that. Thank you. So I wanted to explore playfulness and joyfulness today. One theory of psychology, one theory of human progress is that play is the area where we learn the most. So it's through play that babies learn, grow and develop. As adults, playfulness allows us to enter a zone of uncomfortableness without being uncomfortable. So learning always requires us to come out of our comfort zone. You know, learning really doesn't happen when we're just in our safe place. Learning happens when we've moved out of our safe space. But if we scare ourselves too much, if it becomes too unsafe, we don't learn. So playfulness is a way of exploring our world beyond the reach that we normally have. So if this is our normal reach, playfulness is a bit further. It's the switch. It's just beyond where we normally go. And the idea of playfulness is that it allows us to transform our lived experience. Playfulness is one way of transforming what is happening to us. And this has a very profound effect on us. Just to divert a bit, I don't know if I've told you the story of if I put you on a roller coaster. Some of us will have the thought before we get on a roller coaster, oh, this is fun. And some of us will have the thought before we get on the roller coaster, I'm going to die. And we'll all have the same roller coaster ride. So we'll all go up as high. We'll all go round the corners at the same G-force. We'll all come down at the same velocity. We'll get the same splash of water or whatever it is that they do. So we'll all have the same physical physics, you know, so G-force, gravity, acceleration, centripetal, centrifugal forces, all those forces will be the same for our bodies. But our minds will transform those physical forces into reactivity, some sort of judgment about it. I'm loving it, I'm hating it, I'm scared to death, whatever. And those judgments then change our hormones. So we'll all come off that with a fair amount of cortisol and adrenaline going through our body. So our body will quite naturally generate a whole bunch of chemical reactions. But according to some science that's been done on this, if your mindset was this is fun, I'm enjoying it, those chemicals will be flushed through your system in about 20 minutes. So your body will recover its physical equilibrium in 20 minutes. If, like me, you've clung on, believing that you're going to die, that this is some perverse way of torturing me, those chemicals will not clear my body for 20 hours. So mindset and our sense of fun has the potential to reset us and re-establish a normalcy that we lose when we lose our sense of fun. And for that reason alone, I think it's really worthwhile thinking about, how do we have fun? How are we more playful? How can we transform our experience? So I wrote down three things that I think inhibit fun or playfulness, and they seem to me to be really profoundly human: shaming, blaming, and doubting. So shaming, blaming, and doubting. And the question arises, so if I was to have an experience without shame, if I was to have an experience without blame, if I was to have an experience without any doubts, what would that be like? How could I do that? So I was then thinking, well, what do they do? And so I was thinking, well, shame always makes me feel small and fearful. So if you're having an experience and you notice a sense of fearfulness or smallness, timidity, then that might indicate there's a sense of shaming. Somebody's making you feel small, or some event is making you feel smaller and more fearful. And everybody knows the social media cliche of dance as if no one is watching. So, okay, I don't know that I could ever dance without ever thinking somebody's watching, but I was thinking that it is possible to add silliness. It is possible to just say to myself, right, for 10 minutes, I'm going to do silly things, or I'm going to convert this experience into a sense of silliness. And a couple of you might remember that sometimes I suggest that if you've got really nasty voices in your head, if you're really suffering from anxiety or really suffering from thoughts that are very intrusive and they just won't let you go, one of the things we do in mindfulness is we turn them into silly voices. So, sometimes if we've got shouty voices in our heads saying that we're no good, or, we're not worthy, or we're not like other people, we're not normal. That's one of the things that goes on for me, is I have a voice in my head that says I'm not normal. I'm not like other people. Of course I'm not like other people. Nobody's like other people. But it bugs me, it's one of the things that comes into my consciousness. It's from many of the conditionings I've had from my life. So turn that into a silly voice. Turn it into a cartoon. Turn it into, I don't know, Daffy Duck or the Roadrunner, or any of these silly characters where they get these big mallets and they bash each other on the head, and they can really have it out with each other, and it turns things into a sense of ludicrousness. It's ludicrous. It's just silly beyond belief. So if you have voices or have a sense that you're having an experience where there's an element of shame, go for silliness. I think it's a great antidote. And then if we turn to blame, I think that sometimes blaming is about taking away our sense of agency. It's like saying, there's nothing you can do about it. This is terrible, and you can't fix it, and you're just going to have to suffer, because it's terrible. So I was thinking about, if a circumstance or a person takes away my agency, how can I use playfulness to recover? And there is a wonderful book called Joy, and it's absolutely brilliant. I should have brought it along. But the author has looked at all the different things that bring us joy without us feeling joyful, but they have they have an outside-in effect. So these things can alter our mood and make us feel more joyful. So the sense of playfulness by adding colour. So, if you're having a bleak experience, can you add colour? Can you add movement? Can you add bubbles? Can you add music? Can you add song? Can you add playful puppies or kittens? Can you add twinkly lights? So the way I think about this is I think about, as many of you know, my old dog. She was my very beloved dog. And we used to go from place to place in the car. And I know I can't sing. I can't sing a tune. I can't hold a melody. But I used to sing to her at the top of my voice. And I'd take old children's nursery rhymes and I'd put her name in the middle of it, and I just alter the rhyme or alter the song to include her. And it was my way of being cheerful and joyful, even though she was old and doddery, and I knew that I was going to lose her. So in the face of some adversity, I was able to remain cheerful and bright. So as we go into our practice this evening, I'm going to encourage you to think about colouring your meditation, or adding a jingle, or a nursery rhyme, or adding sparkles, or thinking about waggy tails or something like that, so that you have that sense of playfulness. And just by the way, Thich Nhat Hanh always says that it helps our meditation to put a smile on our face as we sit in practice. So even though we are concentrating, even though we are expressing our dedication to the practice, this is not trivializing the practice. Thich Nhat Hanh is saying, put a smile on our face. And then I was thinking about when we have an experience in our life which causes us to doubt ourselves, causes us to doubt our ability, our integrity, our worth, or whatever. So we have experiences where we think, I'm not strong enough, I'm not bold enough, I'm not energized enough, I'm not fit enough, I'm not. And the playful antidote is to move into something that actors do when they're improvising, which is the yes and. Yes and. So this is just taking your experience and thinking about, yes, and how do I add new challenges? How do I add new people? How do I add new places? And how do I add new ideas? So those are the ways I want us to explore our playfulness tonight. And I'm going to lead a practice for about 20 minutes now. So if you want to turn off cameras and lie down, if you want to just sit and get super comfortable, many of us wear a fluffy around us to keep ourselves warm when we're sitting. So although we're going to sit and practice with dedication, tonight I dedicate this to a light touch. So turning inwards, making the move that we start all our mindfulness practices with, which is this move from an exterior attention to an interior attention. And after all that talking, you might want to take a couple of deeper breaths. And you might want to start meditation with wiggling. So wiggling is an expression of playfulness, just to, again, get your body enlivened, get yourself aligned, central, symmetrical. But you can do that with a gentle roll of your shoulders, a gentle thrum of your fingers, just jiggle them around a bit. So you really feel that your body is alive. If you're interested in exploring this idea from Thich Nhat Hanh, maybe just put a little smile on your face. So make sure the smile is not too big so you don't hurt your muscles. But gentle curve of the mouth upwards. And continue to go in and down inside of yourself. So I'm going to offer a few crazy ideas and notice that they're crazy, and that doesn't diminish the intention to practice. It's just light-hearted, joyful, playful, and still mindful. So just as you're sitting here or lying here, imagine that you're a child's toy. And I want you to be the most colourful you can be as you sit here, being a child's toy. What colour or what colours can you radiate? And as you're a child's toy and you're colourful, you're going to have other things on you as well. So what sparkly things do you want to have? Do you want to have flashy lights? Do you want to have glitter? Do you want to have lots of hair, like My Little Pony with a glossy mane and a tail? Or maybe you're just a furry creature all over. Do you want to have ears, big fluffy ears, big bunny ears, big floppy ears? Do you want to have big feet, dainty feet? Are you going to have wings or horns? You're playing with this idea of being a toy. How can you make yourself the biggest, brightest, funnest toy you can imagine? How does that change your experience of this practice? To sit here like a child's toy, bright and colourful. Maybe you're made of plastic, maybe you're made of wood. Maybe because you're made of plastic, or maybe because you're made of wood, you feel more indestructible. You feel your body has something extraordinary about it now. And when you're ready, let go of being a child's toy and just return to plain, simple mindfulness of the breath. As you breathe in, know you're breathing in. As you breathe out, know that you are breathing out. Now we're going to jazz up the breath. So I want you to imagine that your breath is completely in your control, and you have the possibility of adding choirs, tinkly bells, sirens, horns. You can blow bubbles with tinkles. You can create a whole orchestra of silliness just through your breath as you breathe in, and then whatever you concoct, you breathe out. And into the silence comes the majesty of your orchestra with all its silliness, with all its crazy bits, with all the things that you want to add to the orchestra. Toot or flute, all the joyness of a parade or a Mardi Gras or a carnival, all the joyfulness of a kid's band that doesn't quite work or sync, but it's still completely joyful. All the happiness of singing in a choir with others so that you feel in unison and as one body, as one breath. And as you imagine this fun cacophony of sound and bubbles and anything else that you want to add, notice how it changes your experience of this moment. Notice how, when framed in this way, this moment changes. You've literally changed the atmosphere in which you exist. And when you're ready, return to the simple breath practice. As you breathe in, know that you are breathing in. As you breathe out, know that you are breathing out. And if you'd like to widen your attention now and open yourself to whatever comes. This is just a classic open-hearted awareness practice in mindfulness. And as thoughts and feelings come along, invite into the practice a sense of silliness, maybe by using this idea of cartoon characters. So maybe it's Mickey Mouse tramping across your thoughts. Maybe it's Fred Flintstone. Maybe it's Bart Simpson. Maybe it's the Roadrunner. Snoopy. Just figure out for yourself what's most helpful, so that as your thoughts come and go, you have a way of adding some playfulness to them. And this helps to diminish their stickiness. It helps them to move right along very quickly. And as they disappear over the horizon, return again and again to your breath. And once again, just lose everything you've been working with and return back to the belly and back to the breath. And feel yourself grounded and stable in this moment. No fancy stuff anymore, just a sense of being present. And again, notice your mood, notice what effect all of that has had. Okay, and very slowly, very gently, begin to deepen your breath. Begin to add some movement into your body. And take your time transitioning back to eyes open. And for those of you who are on YouTube, I'm going to sign off now. And I'm going to continue the discussion with those of you who've joined me on Zoom.